Fill her up.
You're listening to the Gas Digital Network.
Conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
And new undisputed UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael the Count Bisping.
This is Believe You Me on the Gas Digital Network.
All right, guys, it is week 2 of isolation, but it is show number, God knows what, of Believe You Me with myself, Louis J. Gomez. We got producer Mike Harrington and Brian McKay, producer extraordinaire in the background as well. Welcome to the show. I know a lot of people are at home. They're bored. A lot of people are still having to go to work. I feel sorry for those people. The children aren't at school. All the schools are closed. This is tough times for a lot of people. A lot of people can't go to work.
The schools are not closed, Michael Bisping, because the schools in the Louis J. Gomez household are wide open because Professor Gomez has class in session.
Well, you haven't got to tell me, Louis, because I was going to get to that, because even though people say we don't plan this show, we do have a little group text thing going on. And I'm chiming into the group text this morning. I'm like, oh, look at this. Jon Jones in the news again. And then I put in, throwing in some other suggestions, lining up guests, just basically, doing a lot of work on this show. And what do I get back? What do I get back from Louis? I get a text back saying, hold on, let me bring it up. It says something along the lines of, but here it is. Hold on. Oh, sorry, boys. I'm homeschooling James. So I need 35 minutes to return to messages, right? And I'm like, the 30 seconds that it took to write that text, James has misbehaved, forgotten his alphabet, and punched another student. Bad home parenting, bro. Listen. What that was, if you break that down, if you decipher the code of the Gomez, it was like, guys, I'm fucking awesome. I'm homeschooling James. I'm like, I'm homeschooling Lucas. In fact, I can see Lucas through the door. He's still being homeschooled. You don't have to text the world. He's not a 2-year-old. You just occasionally have to say, are you good there, James? Anything you need. But you just have to get it in. Fucking dad of the year, Louis. Dad of the year.
Well, here's what happens, okay? So Michael Bisping, let's pull the curtain aside. Okay, you know what? Believers? I'm pulling it.
Open it. The whole way.
It's wide open, baby boy. It's wide open, okay?
Close it a little bit.
So now Michael Bisping's under quarantine. He's losing his mind. He's trying to get away from his family. So now Michael Bisping has a major interest in pre-production for the show, notes, conversations. Never has Bisping put this much attention into the show, but now he has a lot of time. Now he's sitting on his ass with nothing to do. So what I get is, as I'm trying to teach my son, I'm trying to raise him.
Hold on. Which complicated subject of the academia are you trying to get through to little baby James? What are we working on today?
At that time, we were doing our writing at that moment. And then all of a sudden.
Who was doing the writing? Was you doing the writing or was James?
Well, I was helping him when he needed help, and I needed to give him my attention, but bzz, 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 bzz.
Welcome to my world. Welcome to my world.
Welcome to my world.
Welcome to my fucking world. There's a little thing on the side. It's called the silent button. Push the silent button. Or better yet, do this. And this is true. Airplane mode, right? And I'll tell you this, and I love my family in England, but they've started 2 group text message WhatsApp groups. One for me, Maxine, Adam, Shireen, Conrad, Stephen, right? For my mum, because my mum and dad are together. And then there's another WhatsApp group for Maxine, Adam, Stephen, Conrad, Shireen, and my dad, right? And they're all conversating throughout the night. Bing, 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 because there's an 8-hour time difference. Now, I appreciate the contact. I appreciate the love, but it does get annoying, Louis. But you know what? You just got to put up with it. If you want to be an international, world-renowned entrepreneur, podcaster, Gas Digital Network Supremo, I'm sorry if you've got to put up with a little bit of zzz, zzz. There's people out there really suffering right now. And the biggest problem in your life is a slight vibration from your fancy phone. Not everyone can afford these phones. Stop gloating.
We're just
highbrow life.
We're not high school girls. Why are we fighting a big group chat text message? We're all sharing fucking things and gifs and smiley faces and emojis. It's like, Jesus Christ, I'm trying to teach baby James. I'm trying to get him to grow to be a great human being and a great person in the world. have him do his math, his reading, all this stuff. And then here I have you. So all I wanted to do was, because I didn't want to seem like I was ignoring you guys. So I wanted to just chime in and say, hey, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just going to need about 35 minutes to finish teaching my child. Maybe Bisping, your style of teaching is different. You just put them in a room and you say, oh, go ahead, enjoy yourself. I'm very hands-on. I'm trying to make sure that my child actually learns and absorbs.
Yes, you can lead a horse to water, but you cannot make that horse drink it. I will sit him at the table. I will provide him with the notes. I will provide him with the information that is required, the tools of the trade, a pencil, a ruler, a sharpener, perhaps an eraser and a rubber that we call it. Not a protractor and not a, what was those half semicircle things? It's a protractor, not a protractor. It's a protractor, a compass. Who the fuck needs a compass these days? But anyway.
Calculator?
The scientist, no calculators. Although at school they do use calculators now, which is bizarre. It blows my mind. But you've got to let them get on with it. You've got to let them make the mistakes themselves. Then you check it, you correct them, Lewis. This is how you do the homeschooling. And I see a lot of people, by the way, on Instagram. They think they're so good because they're homeschooling people right now. They're thanking teachers, and I thank teachers. I thank them. I appreciate them. But let's not forget, they're getting a monthly salary. They are getting paid. And whilst they do not get paid enough, teachers do not get paid enough, there should be way more money because they have a massive impact on our children. I'm backtracking on my sentence there. But they do also get paid.
It's like watching your opinion. It's like watching like a dog watching a ball go back and forth. It's like in one sentence, you've gone back and forth 5 times on one opinion.
I appreciate the teaching. I appreciate the skills. I appreciate the life lessons. But fuck them. My taxes pay for them, okay? Simple as that. No.
I got to give them some credit, dude, because look, the teachers, what they did, this is why you got to give them credit.
Teachers at my school were pricks, but carry on.
In a week, yeah, mine too. They were fucking awful. They were
fucking
abusive.
Assholes.
But in a week, they turned around and they took all of their curriculum and they put it online and they made it so that these kids can graduate from whatever grade they're in. And they really adapted. And now that I'm, because now it's a little different. Like you drop your kid off at school, you don't really know. You do a parent-teacher conference a few times a year. They seem nice, whatever. But I will tell you, just watching the way they're interacting and how they're, how motivated they are to like teach these kids and be there for these kids, I got to give them a lot of credit because I'm seeing it firsthand how much they give a fuck. And I mean, he goes to a great school, obviously, you know what I'm saying? But it's like,
obviously, private school, Lewis is a fucking gazillionaire at this point. Let's be honest. He's sent him to a great school, No, okay, Lewis, you know me. I'm always being silly and being a little bit silly, but then, a little bit stupid, sorry. You get all serious on it. So, now I've got to echo the seriousness and say, you're right, teachers do an amazing job and they should be paid way more money. And I will say this, our teachers, our teenagers teachers, Callum and Ellie, obviously high school and college, they've been great as well. They're on the phone a lot. They're making sure that they're doing their assignments if there's anything they need. So it is beautiful to see. So thank you to all teachers out there, Lewis, okay? Now you've got me doing a public service announcement to all teachers, women, children, vets. What about the vets? The vets. Nobody's talking about the vets right now.
I was kidding. You're gay. I was just testing you to see if you would fall for it, and you did. What a loser. Teachers?
Well, my teachers were dicks, okay? Yeah. Real dicks.
Who was your worst teacher?
So many to choose from. There's so many. I was not liked by the teachers at school. What about you? I'll have a think while you answer.
My worst teacher was, and I was a shitty student. But I was like, I had ADD and I was from an abusive home and it was very obvious. So nobody fucking helped me. They should have helped me. They should have been like, there should have been some like, where was the fucking Michelle Pfeiffer character that was coming in to try to like teach me how to like be a good, there's none of that. It was all just shitty teachers. And there was one teacher, he lied, dude. He fucking lied in the 9th grade. He kicked me out of class. It was like a minute left in class, like 1 minute left. So he was like, you know what, go to timeout. And timeout was essentially you go for the rest of the period to timeout, and then they do so much in the class. It's detention for the period, essentially, right? And I was like, cool. I didn't even give a fuck because there was 1 minute left. I was essentially getting a minute.
We know what timeout is. Everybody knows what timeout is. But thank you for explaining. But continue. So you had timeout.
Some people didn't have timeout in high school. It was, they essentially do a closet. I was essentially put into a closet in fucking, So And I didn't give a shit because there was a minute left. Essentially, he was giving me a head start to my next class. I did not care at all. I wasn't offended. I wasn't whatever. He kicked me out because I was talking. I was like, all right, see you later. So I leave, and I get called down to the principal's office the next period. And he literally just fabricated it. He said that
He said that you left the class, you were rude, you were abusive, and you left without.
That I threatened his life.
Well, Lewis, listen, you have a way of skewing reality to fit your theory, okay?
I went by. I didn't say shit. I didn't even slightly upset. And I
probably said, see you around. See you later, sir. Me and my homies from New York. Me and my homies, we're going to get you, Holmes. Okay? The Puerto Rican massive Holmes. We're going to fuck you up, Bessie. Hey, teacher, let's go, Holmes. That's what you did.
I did.
In your mind, you went, cheerio, sir. Thanks for a great lesson. Really absorbed a lot of useful information today.
Oh, good day. Good jolly, sir. Thank you. And meanwhile, I'm just shooting a gun in the air, biting his daughter in the face.
All right, this is going off the rails fast.
That was my worst teacher. He fucking lied. I got suspended from school. No, I got expelled from school, essentially. I got put into a PM school that I had to work my way out of. He literally fucking lied. He got fired while I was away for being a psycho.
Teachers lie. Teachers lie. They're flawed humans, just like the rest of us. Highly stressful job. Okay, they're dealing with little shits like you, Lewis, that are pushing them to the brink of collapse and nervous breakdown. They're underpaid. Overskilled, underpaid, underappreciated. They're going to deal with shit from you. They're going to deal shit from the government and their guidelines. They're going to deal with ungrateful parents. Last thing they need is a Luis J. Gomez having on his period talking shit to the teacher. Realistically, you need to take
all the females that are listening to the show right now, that sexist remark that Michael Bisping just made, write it down. Write it down. Make another note. Bullet pointed. Here we go. Michael Bisping. We know who he is.
You were a little hormonal that day. Okay, that's all I'm saying. Okay, hey, listen. We don't see gender these days. I don't know if you're he, him, her, whatever it is. You could be on your period. Anyway, as usual. Even though Lewis didn't want to partake in the group text, great show planned. We've got two fantastic guests. We've got Darren Till joining us in a little bit. Always great, Darren Till. And we got Imran from Sanabul. Sanabul, obviously. You see me wearing the shirt. Proud member of Team Sanabul. Imran is he's actually a qualified doctor who went to medical school. So he's going to chime in on the coronavirus. And he's got a little treat for all our believers out there. We've got a fantastic competition, but we'll allow Imran to tell you all about that. But as ever, in the world of mixed martial arts, Lewis, there might not be any fights going on. Everything might have ground to a halt. But there's always things to talk about. There's always headlines. And of course, yes, who is the ace that we have up our sleeve every single time? If you want a bit of controversy, you want someone to talk about, you need something to get your teeth into in terms of a story, who else? He is the greatest of all time at mixed martial arts, but he's the greatest of all time at giving us shit to talk about. Of course, none other than Mr. Jon Jones. He strikes again.
I love it. At this point, I'm becoming a fan of Jon Jones. He's turned a corner because it's almost like he just doesn't care. It's obnoxious. It's like, you gotta think about this. Think about this, because if you guys don't know what happened, okay, Jon Jones arrested, I think this was last night or yesterday in New Mexico, early Thursday, late last night, I'm assuming, for alleged aggravated DWI and negligent use of a firearm early Thursday morning. And we'll get into more of the details of what happened there. But you got to think about this, Michael Bisping, because you and I, we're cut from the same cloth, probably the same cloth that Jon Jones is. We're shitheads. We've been into some trouble. In my earlier years, if they had a camera on Michael Bisping in his early 20s, holy shit.
I've got the Bisping documentary will be released later this year, right? And the first 20 minutes or so focuses on that earlier Bisping, right? And then it's all about, unfortunately, I did a little spell inside. I did a little bit of bird, as they say in England. And then I got on the straight and narrow. You learn from your mistakes. I'm not a perfect human being. I am far from a perfect human being. But then once I was able to, do something I loved, once I had some opportunity, basically, and if I was able to work hard and
something to lose
and dedicate myself, well, of course I had something to lose, but something to earn as well if I stayed on the straight and narrow. But here's Jon Jones, and he just can't keep it together.
Here's the point I was going to make, though, is you think about how many times he's gotten into shit like this. right? How many
Yep.
times he's been caught? Think about how often he doesn't get caught. Think about what Jon Jones does in like all the shit that he's never been caught for. This guy is a fucking Bond villain. He's an evil, evil man, and I'm a fan of it.
Whoa. Allegedly a Bond villain. Okay. We don't need another lawsuit. Allegedly a Bond villain. That's a great title for the podcast.
You know that. You know it
I
is.
see you writing it down. No, I mean, you got to remember this. And we'll get into the details in a minute, but I was just recently in Albuquerque or Rio Rancho. I never saw a cop anywhere. If I'm Jon Jones, I'm down there like Samity Sam. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. No wonder he's driving around. It's nothing but desert, mountains, and weirdos, right? He's driving around. He's got Jorge Masvidal's open tequila in his car. He's smashed out of his mind. He's blasting the gun, by all accounts, allegedly. This is what they're saying because they heard gunshots. Jones denied the gunshots, of course, like any reputable person or anyone with half a brain would do. But the cops now have taken the gun for forensic testing.
Well, they found the bullet too, right? Didn't they find the discharge bullet? And they said it matched the gun already, but now they got to go in for the official forensic testing.
I believe the term you're looking for is they're going to do a ballistics report.
Ooh.
I watch forensic files every night to fall asleep to. So yeah. So listen, I mean, this guy, I mean, God, listen, Jones, my interactions, is a good dude. You know what I mean? But I'm basing him off my interactions. I'm not his favorite person because, you know, I said a few things about the steroid thing and whatnot. And I remember when we were still on Fox Sports, we had to interview him after a fight and he wasn't too tickled, shall we say, to have to speak with me. But as a fighter, he's phenomenal. He's sensational, of course, but you can't deny the fact that controversy does surround this guy. And as a commentator and as an analyst, we have to discuss those things. All right. I guess as a commentator and an analyst, you got to focus on the fight, really. But, you know, we have to comment when these things come along. Certainly the steroid allegations that were there, you know, because they are a real thing. But outside of the octagon, it's a shame, man, because this guy's just so good. But the thing is, I'll say this. I mean, you look at, as we just said, myself, but I'm not talking about me. Look at Mike Tyson. Look at Jon Jones. Look at these great athletes that I do believe, and I'm not making excuses for him, but there is a certain something in the DNA that makes somebody great, that also makes them a risk taker, that makes them a bit of a rebel. You know, the fact that makes you so good at an extreme sport like mixed martial arts, like fighting, there's something in the DNA, something in the makeup, as I say, it makes you a rebel, makes you a risk taker, and makes you more likely to get behind the wheel of a car, shit-faced on tequila, and just pop a few rounds.
Yeah, to be that great, right? To even do something like getting into mixed martial arts in general, you have to have this belief in this intangible ability. It's not even a reality. If Michael Bisping could go back and talk to young Michael Bisping, the foundation of the roadmap to making money or making millions of dollars in MMA, I don't even know if you could recreate it. It's like all of these things have to sort of go right. There's a million like little variables and a million factors. I know with comedy, I couldn't go back. If I had to start over again, I don't even know that I would want to do it again. It's such an uphill battle, and there's so many ups and downs that you have to have this sort of weird belief in your ability without, you know, before you even do it, right? So I think there's that, and I think there's this, you know, he's very young as well. You know, he won the title, I think, at 23 or 24, you know, the youngest UFC champion of all time. And I think that it stunned his growth as like just in terms of maturity, making that much money that early in your life. You know, you sort of act a little late, you act invincible. There's a lot of different variables that sort of make Jon Jones who he is.
Listen, we're not talking about Justin Bieber here. We're not talking about Justin Bieber, who's discovered by Usher, I think it was, at like 15, 14, and grew up in front of the media with women throwing themselves at him and millions of dollars. Jon Jones is much older than that, right? And when he got to the UFC, he was in his early 20s, and he's the youngest ever champion that we had inside the UFC. And yeah, he has been followed and marred by...
Extraordinarily talented. I mean, dude, think about that. Think about the talent. He's been that talented probably for as long as he can remember. Very gifted.
Yeah, bro. So was I. I wasn't doing this.
Of course, for that Michael Bisping.
No. Listen,
you weren't getting caught doing this.
fucking right, I wasn't. Do you know what I mean? There's a certain level of intelligence. If you're going to be a criminal, you got to be good. You got to be smart. If you're going to be a liar, you got to remember your fucking bullshit. Simple as that. You got to stick to the script.
That's why I can't judge him. I was like, dude, just stop getting caught, you fucking moron.
Listen, I get it, right? So apparently it's negligent use of a firearm. So yeah, it was yippee-ki-yay and then blasting off a few rounds. I don't know. I'm assuming he got shit-faced. All right, here's what I'm assuming. Here's what I allegedly think happened off the couple of paragraphs that I read on MMA Junkie. Okay, so I don't know too much about it, but everyone's reporting he was drunk behind the wheel of a car. He was 2 times over the limit. There was an open bottle of Jorge Masvidal's Resuerdo, or I think it means resurrection in Spanish, an open bottle of his tequila, and, of course, the reports of the gunfire. He's denying the gunfire, but they've got the gun, they've got the shells. They're going to do a ballistics report. If it was his, they'll get to the bottom of that pretty quickly. The drink driving thing, I mean, well, first of all, if you've got guns, I don't know if he was shooting at somebody. Maybe he was shooting animals. Maybe he was shooting people. Maybe he was shooting homeless. Maybe Jon Jones is riding around Albuquerque murdering homeless people. Have we ever thought about that for a second? You know what I mean? You know?
That's true. That is true. Maybe we don't know.
Just for the record, I just want to say, I don't think Jon Jones is going around shooting homeless people, although you never know. More than likely, we've all been there. You have a few too many drinks, you get a little wild, you get a little crazy. Not making excuses. But if I had guns, I'd want to shoot those motherfuckers up in the air. Maybe just potting off a few shots, firing off a few rounds, maybe a little bit of target practice. We don't know. Maybe he was out in the deserts. Maybe he was out in like the national parks, you know. Maybe he was downtown Albuquerque, and that shit definitely doesn't fly. But we don't know where he was.
I don't know where he's at. But to be honest with you, I don't really have an issue with Jon Jones doing this. It's not ideal, like, you know, but it's none of my fucking business. I don't really care. You know, it's a fuck up. Jon Jones regularly fucks up. You know, at what point are we the crazy ones for expecting him to act any different? You know, it's a sign of entitlement. It's a sign of I don't know his upbringing the same way other people, but I know that he has 2 older brothers that are professional athletes. There is a level of you know, of privilege to be that gifted athletically. That comes, you know, and it's his whole family. It's his brothers as well. So he has something about him that does seem a little entitled. And this is also why you look at somebody like Conor McGregor, who, you know, arguably does worse shit, right? It's debatable. Like, he's done some crazy shit as well, throwing the fucking dolly at a bus with women in it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, punching an old guy. There's some crazy shit. But the difference is, for some reason, Conor has still been able to parlay his enigmatic personality into this really marketable thing that everybody wants to fucking buy. Jon Jones, if you look at his pay-per-view buys and you look at sort of his fan base, it is pale in comparison to Conor McGregor.
Yeah, but the thing is, as you said, I mean, you know, if somebody's going to, you know, do whatever, let themselves down. I'm not going to kick a man while he's down, but I do. And I don't want to shit all over him. I do have an issue with people that drink drive. And frequently, this seems to be...
I do. You're right about that.
Yeah, there seems to be an issue here. There is a reoccurring theme with Jon. Remember years back in the day, and I'm sorry, Jon, if you hear this, I apologize, Jon. I'm not trying to shit on your or piss on your bonfire or make you look bad. But everybody knows these facts. First of all, he smashed his Bentley, I think, into a lamppost at like 4 o'clock in the morning or something. Then he had the accident with the pregnant lady, remember? And then now this one again. And there's other things in between, but they're the ones off the top of my head, you know. And fortunately, so far, nobody's been too seriously injured. But I see on the news every day out here in California and LA, it's crazy, man. A lot of hit and runs, a lot of innocent people just sitting in the car, driving home, minding their own business, and a fucking car plows into them from behind and murders everybody inside that car. You hear about it all the time. Just a nice family. Just like, I say this every time. When I'm driving along the freeway and there's a crash, I'm just like, oh, God. A lot of people, they go straight away, oh, my God, now I'm going to be late. I hope this goes quick. Instantly, I just think, fuck, I hope everyone's okay. Right? Because cars are death machines. They fucking are. And that's why I get a little bit, you know, I rant on some... well, you know, I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm a trained killer, bro. But I rant on this on social media a little bit out here because a lot of the drivers are dicks. Like out here in Southern California, certainly in Orange County, some of the most well-mannered people you've ever met in your life, right? They speak properly. They have excellent manners. Yes, sir. No, sir. 3 bags full, sir. But you put them behind the wheel of a car and they turn into aggressive fucking assholes. They really do. And they force you to make these maneuvers that can be dangerous. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent here. The point that I'm making is that drink driving, getting behind the wheel of a car whilst heavily intoxicated and while shooting guns, it can't be tolerated. It can't be. And I'm just wondering
if he did one more dangerous thing on top of it, I'd say it's okay. It's like it's the rule of threes in comedy. So let's say he was driving a car drunk, shooting a gun, and juggling.
Getting a blowjob.
Well, that's not really that dangerous. I guess while you're driving a car, it is.
It's very distracting, Lewis. Spoken like a man that doesn't even have his driver's license. Whoa, my God. Hammered behind a car while shooting a gun and getting your dick sucked. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster.
You're fucking American dream. What are you talking about?
That's Mad Max. That's where this world is heading soon. 3 months from now, that is my life. That's my reality. What are you talking about? No, listen. So anyway, so Jones, I think he's going to be in hot water, if I'm honest. Not so much by the UFC. As we know, the UFC is very, very distracted right now. The world is distracted. There's no live events happening. Their biggest concern right now is trying to still have a business. Of course, the UFC will still have a business. They've got enough money to ride this out. They're not going to go out of business. Yeah, but when this passes, they'll be back to business as usual. What I'm saying is that might be a good distraction from the UFC for them to implement any kind of in-house punishment. But from the police side of things, I mean, you can't keep committing the same offense and expect to get off of it scot-free.
Well, I got to be honest with you. When you are as famous and as rich as Jon Jones is, as long as nobody's really being hurt, he's going to get a slap on the wrist. And that might even mean, by the way, that could mean 30 days in jail, which is not a fucking slap. If you've ever spent the night in jail, it sucks all of the dick in the world. Having your freedom taken away from you for 5 hours is a nightmare. Being in the back of a paddy wagon for 5 hours is a nightmare. So if he goes to jail for even 30 days, I'd be surprised if he did that. But maybe, who knows?
Well, put it like this. It all depends on the judge for one, right? And the judge might look at this guy and say, you know what, you're very privileged. You're in a good position. You've got a lot of fans. You've got a job that, is very, very rewarding if you're good at it like you are. You're a champion of the world. You're a public figure. People look up to you. You should be using that platform to try and do good. Now, of course, human beings make mistakes, and the judge will recognize that. He'll say,
or the judge could be a man.
No, yeah. Well, no. But the judge might say, "But you keep coming before me. This is not the first time, and it's always a very, very similar offense. And unfortunately, you're not learning your lesson." Listen, I was there when I was a kid. Same fucking thing. I was never a criminal. But I got in a lot of scraps when I was a kid. A lot of bar fights and street fights, right? And you get arrested because you can't do that. And then eventually, ultimately, the judge said, and it wasn't even a serious thing. It was public order that I got arrested for. But the judge said, you know what? This is you're here too often. You're not learning. We are not getting the message through to that very good-looking, well-structured skull of yours that's excellent at taking a punch. I mean, I do see a future in professional fighting for this guy, but that skull is so hard to penetrate with this message that you're not getting the message. So therefore, I have no choice but to send you to prison. And he did send me to prison.
How long were you in for again?
Only 30 days. 30 days, same thing. But what you suggested, but it was enough because when I was in there, I was with the fucking dregs of society. I remember when I walked into the prison, and it's like you see on the movies, they strip all your clothes off, they fucking hosed me down, they gave me my prison issue clothing, and then when I sat in this little holding room whilst I was waiting for my cell,
and
I'll never
three
forget
men held you down.
Yeah, I got butt fucked. Yeah, no. That was just a strange dream I had once, Lewis. Very weird. But no. So they put me in the holding room, and I'm sitting there, and I've got my prison issue clothes on, and there's a blank room with a portable TV in the corner, very up high, and there's a football game on in there, and these people are coming up to me, and they're like, all right, mate, what you in for? What have you done? And I'm like, fuck off. Don't talk to me. I am not one of you, and I'm not looking down on anybody that's been in prison. But they didn't give a shit. They were more concerned about, if I'm lucky, I'll get my old cell. I might get my old cell back. That one was sweet. And I was like, don't talk to me. I'm better than you. And as I said, I talked about it in my book, talked about it at the Hall of Fame speech. And I thanked that judge because I finally learned my fucking lesson. And when I got out of prison, I was like, right, that's it. I got to change my ways. And I did. I'm not advocating for Jon to go to prison. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the judge might look at this and say, here's a guy that's a repeat offender now, keeps making the same mistake. So therefore, we're going to have to up the ante because you're not learning.
Yeah, I agree. And to be honest with you, I didn't really consider the fact that it is a DWI and it's over and over again. And the reality is, dude, I got a fucking kid. Let me tell you something. You know, that's what you're doing there is you're gambling with the lives of everybody around you. So it is really, really serious. And I hope that Jon Jones does learn his lesson. I mean, we like to you know, take shots here and there and to fuck around and make fun of certain things. But the reality is he's an incredibly talented fighter. On the last show, or maybe it was the one before, we talked, you know, in a very favorable way about him moving up to heavyweight, you know, sort of erasing the past issues and kind of cementing his legacy. And I think that even with this, it's not impossible. He's just got to really make a decision on sort of who he wants to be and what he wants to be. And if he wants to be, look, Floyd Money Mayweather has fucking been arrested a million times. He beats up his wives. He does all this. Dude, that guy is fucking
allegedly.
But he rolls with some you know, some dark individuals. And
whoa, Jesus Christ.
Easy,
let's leave race and color out of this, Lewis.
Let's call a spade a spade, if you know what I mean.
We're gonna move on, but I do want to say, listen, drink driving is something I really have a problem with because you're going to murder innocent people. That's why Megan and Ellie, they leave the house, they get in the car, they're young girls. Not now, everyone's on isolation, but generally when back in normal times, whenever they go out, I implore them, I beg Ellie, I say, please, wear your seatbelt at all times. Just that little thing will help you save your life. But if you've got some drunk maniac who's fucking texting on his phone, who's hammered out of his mind on tequila, drives right into the back of you, or hits you like going through a crossroads and he just boom slams into you like a T smash, you're fucked. You know, you could easily be dead. You know what I mean? And that's a very certainly someone like Jon, he can afford a driver. He could have a full-time driver. He could afford a limo, whatever he wants. He shouldn't be doing that. And I'm not throwing him under a bus and talking shit, but it isn't right. It's
alleged
behavior.
And if it comes out that he didn't do it, then, you know, we're talking about a fallacy. We're talking about an imaginary scenario that doesn't exist.
No. Right? That side of things isn't a fallacy because he was arrested and they breathalyzed him and he was twice over the limit.
Allegedly.
No. He was found twice over the limit.
Oh, no.
It was
reality.
It was alleged, and then it was found to be true.
Okay. All right. He shot that gun off, allegedly. Oh, no. He shot that gun off.
Oh, he definitely shot the gun. We got the ballistic report. Anyway,
real quick, Mike, why don't we go and get Darren Till on line because he's just about to call in. And we have a lot more incredible show planned today. We have a lot more to talk about as well. We have some more fun topics. So, let's get Darren Till on. And, we'll be right back.
All right, guys, this is the time to focus on your health. I mean, come on, we're all social distancing. We're stuck in our houses, and you've probably already watched everything on Netflix. Now, you know what you should do. You've seen the people on Instagram. You know where this is going. You should get on the ground and do some push-ups. Start lifting those weights that are collecting dust in the corner of your room or whatever it is. If you go online, you will find some kind of workout regimen that will work for you. So basically, you want to get ripped so that when the COVID-19 goes away, you can go to the beach. You're not allowed to go to the beach now, but when this passes, go to the beach and don't be afraid to get naked. Yes, naked. Get naked on the beach. Hopefully you're at a nudist beach and you don't get arrested, but if you do, you want to make sure that you're using naked nutrition because you know what's scarier than the corona? It's what your body's going to look like in June after quarantining and eating cookies like Mike Harrington for weeks. And listen, why not take the time to turn your house into a gym? And while you're at it, get the proper nutrients into your system. Yes, of course, this is an ad read for Naked Nutrition. But let me tell you, I've just signed with these guys. I partnered with them recently, and I love this company. Their incredible Naked Whey protein is made from grass-fed cow's milk in California. And that's it. One ingredient. Grass-fed whey protein, no artificial sweetener, no GMO, no growth hormone, no soy, and no gluten, Lewis.
I know, I love it, man. The whey protein is the product that I love the most, but they have a bunch of different products. If you go to their website, which is nkdnutrition.com, no artificial crap. Everything that they have is made with real nutrition, nothing to hide. All the products are third-party tested and perfect for fueling workouts and muscle growth, okay? Very easy to get lazy right now. Take advantage of the time off, get in shape, and look at that. Chocolate.
Look at that. Exactly. Look at this. I've got a tub of it here right in front of me, okay? It's a big
It's almost
tub.
as big as your head.
Well, it's not as big as my head. It's forced perspective. Now it's bigger. Now it's smaller. That's how it works with perspective. But I've got a ton of this stuff here. I love this. It's good shit, right? Everybody these days, right, when you look at things, the amount of crap that's in anything, the chemicals is crazy. Not in this stuff. Naked nutrition, always naked. And here is the naked difference. From pasture-fed cows, milk, from small U.S. dairy farms in California, no artificial sweeteners, no artificial flavors or colors, 25 grams of protein and 6 grams of BCAAs, which stands for branched-chain amino acids, which are absolutely essential in muscle building. Only 3 ingredients: grass-fed whey protein, organic coconut sugar, and raw organic cacao powder. So all natural, GMO and soy-free, certified gluten-free, growth hormone-free, or RBGH or RBST free. I don't know what they are, but I'll tell you what it is. Those people getting tainted supplements in the UFC, if they're using naked nutrition, they can't fucking use that excuse. That's a fact, because there's none of that shit in here. It's
there are
acid.
No picograms, baby boy.
0 picograms, just lots of protein, branched chain amino acids. All nutritional values are verified by independent third-party testing. Listen, all right, as you know, we get silly on this show, but if you want top of the food chain protein and the best quality stuff that you can put inside your body, naked nutrition is the way to go. Lewis, tell them the offer.
nkdnutrition.com, nakednutrition.com. Use the promo code Bisping. You save 15% off your entire order. Go right now. Check out their entire line. They have great bars. If you want to hoard, delicious protein bars as well, you can get those. Grab the naked protein, whey protein, which is incredible. Once again, that is nakednutrition.com. Use that promo code Bisping. And Mr. Bisping.
Yeah. I just wanted to add, here's what I do. A little bit of piece of advice for a delicious meal replacement. You take a scoop of this. I put in some frozen berries. I put in a little peanut butter and a handful of spinach. Mix it up in the NutriBlender. What do you call it? NutriBlender? NutriBullet. Mix them up in the NutriBullet. Oh my God. Absolutely delicious. It's a full meal. You get a lot of goodness, a lot of protein and fiber and ingredients and nutrients and vitamins and minerals and everything you need. Tell them the offer one more time.
NakedNutrition.com, NKDNutrition.com. Use that code Bisping, 15% off. All right, let's get back into it.
We've got Darren Till on the phone or on the video, as we can clearly see. Darren, my friend, what's going on, mate? What the hell is happening in Liverpool at the moment?
Probably not the same as all you lot, Mike. The government, the Prime Minister, put us on lockdown, but basically it's not lockdown, if you get me, because I live in the middle of town and people are all still out and about, but you're just not allowed in groups. You're only allowed to buy certain things at the supermarket, but all the shops, every single shop is closed, everything.
But listen, I know for a fact, the people of the northwest of Liverpool, they don't listen. They do what the fuck they're told. No, you know what I mean? So what is the general vibe, though? Are people like, yeah, listen, we've got to stay on lockdown, or do they think the whole thing's bullshit? What are people thinking?
Everyone's 50-50. I think everyone is on lockdown, but they're not, because if they've got shit to do, which we've all got shit to do, they're still doing it. But obviously, everything's closed, so not that type of shit, you know what I mean? It's 50-50 the way I see it, because I'm still going about my business, but I'm just not going to see anyone, sort of. I'm staying in like twos and that, so it's 50-50, not like use a full lockdown.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I think it's kind of comparable here, because I think people say that, they're like, oh my God, even New York City, where we are the epicenter of the issue in the States, half of the positive cases are in New York City. I live in New York. I can go outside right now. My kid right now is at the park. We can go to the supermarket. So I feel like it's this sort of like social thing. It's not even like, I don't know if there's a real way to enact it. How much has life changed for you in terms of preparation, being a fighter, and in terms of sort of mentally being, having to pause your life and pause your preparation?
No, nothing changes for me. Nothing ever will. I think the only important thing, me and Mike are sort of on the same level with this type of shit. Like, opinions are like arseholes. I was saying this to before, Ariel. Everyone's got one, and to me, it's, you know, I think the only thing we should be doing is respecting the people who are not in a greater position as ourselves. So, for instance, the elderly and the NHS workers, which in America would be medical workers. So I think we need to respect them in a sense of don't go panic buying and stuff like that, because they're working round the clock 24 hours, and then when it gets to their time to get the shot, there ain't nothing there.
Yeah.
So I think that's the only thing that people really need to take serious and stuff. But apart from, like with me, I've been training every single night. I haven't missed a day. I didn't train on Sunday. Oh, sorry, I ran on Sunday. But I've been training every day. Obviously, all that shit, like, I'll post like I'm eating food and that. Every single person's doing that. But I'm still training.
It's getting fucking annoying because I've got a few people asking me to post home workouts from gyms, from sponsors. I'm like, the fucking moment has passed on posting the home workout videos. Yeah. I am not one of those guys. I'm not one of those fucking wankers. I just text somebody from our gym before. I just said, he's like, Mike, we need a home workout video. I texted, I am not a performing monkey. Okay. Sometimes if I feel in the moment, if I feel like being a stupid dickhead, I'll do it. I'll be silly. But when I'm half of the time, I'm a miserable, bad-tempered bastard, right? And if you text me when I'm in one of those moods when I've got a cob on, I'll be like, go fuck yourself. Find someone else to do your workout. Anyway, you're not a doctor, so we're not here to discuss the coronavirus because we're fucking sick of it, but it is at the forefront of everyone's mind. We're here to talk a bit of fighting. We're here to talk a little bit of shit. Robert Whittaker, what is going on? How did this come about? Because I see the things that you two do, the Robert, the question mark, and now he's coming back with the Darren question mark. I mean, how did all this start?
Rolling game hard from Rob now, mate. So basically, when I beat Gaslam, the UFC Dana and that like spoke to me, and he was like, "Oh, you know, what do you want next?" And you know, I was like, you know, if I'm top 5 now, you know, give me. I want to go forward. I don't want to go backwards. And they said about Rob, and then like without further question, I just thought, okay, I'm gonna go on Twitter, I'm gonna start talking shit. But Rob's a nice guy, Mike, you know yourself, so I didn't want to like talk unnecessary.
It's almost impossible. It's almost impossible to talk shit with him.
Yeah, so I've done it the nice way, and for a while it was like funny, and you know, I think he got the joke. He never said much, and now that the fight's actually happening, because that fight didn't happen, Mike, for whatever reason. Maybe you're more in know. I got told it was because of his family, personal issue. So he couldn't do the fight. And then I had problems with my visa and fighting Jared on the Stylebender card. And then they wanted to reschedule the Rob fight. So I said, yes, sound. And now that it's rescheduled, it's like, you know, I don't know if it's going to happen or not with this pandemic. But he started trolling me, the bastard.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Listen, so when do you think that fight's going to happen? You got any idea? UFC said anything?
No, they haven't. I haven't even like tried to reach out to them. Like I think Dana's fucking attention's all on this Tony Khabib. If it's going to happen or what, I don't know. But listen, Mike, if it happens in August 15th, it happens. And if it doesn't happen until like whenever the next UFC is rescheduled, that's the card I want to be on.
Yeah.
So,
obviously, if you
mean?
were to beat Darren Till, you're right there. What the fuck am I saying? Beat Darren Till. Beat Robert Whittaker. Just beat Gastelum. If you beat Robert Whittaker, you'd be right there in line for a title shot. Yeah. Obviously, Stylebender, he's the champ right now. What did you think of that fight with him and Romero? I'm not trying to ask you to talk shit, but the reality is, it was a bit of a crappy fight, right? Whichever way you slice it. Come on, don't let me do all the talking. What did you make of that fight?
Adesanya's a pussy. Do you know what, mate? Yeah, I'm just going to come out and say it was a shit fight, but I've been in them myself, stalemates, and I don't think Yo and Stylebender were the right match for each other, the way that fight was looking. And you could say Stylebender looked scared, and you could say Yo was doing some stupid things, which he was. It just, do you know what, mate? It was just a snoozer. It just didn't do anything for the fans, didn't do anything for me. So, you know, but then Stylebender's been in wars and so's Yo, so you can't really hate on them just for one fight. But it was a shit fight.
Lewis?
Yeah, so I mean, how do you see yourself matching up against Stylebender after? Or let me ask you, forget even just that question. What do you take from that fight and that performance that makes you think that you'd be a good matchup?
As long as it's not Yo. Being seriously, mate. Honestly, like, you know me. Mike knows me well. I'm not one to come out and give excuses. And I feel like at welterweight, I was just so drained. Got to the point I was just draining my whole body, my brain, and everything. I feel now with this a little bit of an improved mindset. I already had a strong one and healthy at middleweight. I just think I'll be too much for Stylebender. I think I've got too much power, and I think I'll be technically standing up too much for him. I really do. And, you know, he sees another way, and he's not taking me down. And, you know, I've got this mentality, if you take me down, I'm getting back up. So I just really believe I get past Whittaker.
Your British Thai boxing style, I think, is more than a match for his fucking kickboxing. You know what I mean? I don't know if you know Daz Morris, my old Thai boxing coach.
Of course, it's aiming at Daz himself for Thai.
Yeah, Daz speaks so highly of you. It's ridiculous. Honestly,
He's a
he does.
good lad,
Ever since you came on the scene, he's like, Mike, keep a fucking eye on Darren Till. He is the shit. And as you said, now you're at middleweight. I did the same thing. I used to be at 205, then I went to middleweight. And it just kills you, man. You lose muscle, you lose power, you lose so much shit, and you're drained. So you're going to stay at middleweight now. And I think everyone should do that. Everyone should move up a fucking weight class. Because that's what Stylebender does as well. Because yeah, it's ridiculous.
After this quarantine, everyone will be moving up, let me tell you.
What's going on, Lewis? Are you on full screen, Lewis? Can you see us all? Or because I keep pointing at you and you keep you're either ignoring me or you're a tit.
I'm a tit and I'm ignoring you. How about that?
There we go.
Well, a couple things. All right, so what happened? Did you, I'm reading that you DM'd Israel Adesanya telling him that you're coming for him. What was up with that?
Mate, I've fucking gone in everyone's DMs, to be honest. I've actually...
That's brilliant.
I've gone in Joel's DMs as well, but he didn't reply. I was like, I'm coming for you, Joel. And then, like, the next day I checked out and it said just, like, played and red. And I was thinking, why isn't he replying back to me? He's like, has he got a problem or something? So, yeah, I just keep fucking going. And listen, I'm like this, mate. You know, it's all good and well doing it for the cameras, but, like, I want to speak to you, me and you. Like, me and you, it's different, you know what I mean? And I haven't had much of a problem with no one, you know, really a proper beef. And I'm just sort of one of them. If you're going to have proper beef, none of this pushing or managers in the way or all that shit. When you see me, it's beef. It's like we'll have a straight net and then we'll sort of shake hands. That's how I sort of look at it.
Yeah, so I mean, but you know it's important, obviously, to sort of create a little bit of drama and create a little bit of beef. So how much of that is deliberate? If you're doing it, how much thought goes into actually sort of doing it for the sake of creating interest in a fight?
I'll just do like that Rob thing. Like if you go onto Rob's comment section now, it's about 100,000 comments. Just everyone going Rob ? Rob ?
It's genius. I love it.
It's just the good way to be. And then obviously you'll get a fight where there's a little bit of beef. Like with me and Adesanya, it will be a little bit fun, but it will be very, very serious. You know, like, and he knows that. So. You know,
but hey, just going back to the Yoel thing though, right? Because listen, you're taking the piss, we're having a laugh, right? And you're because I saw that video you did the other day. You go, I'm fucking coming for you, right? You've sent that to Yoel Romero. But here's the thing: Americans don't really get the English sense of humor. No, I fucking guarantee Cubans definitely don't get our sense of humor. So you're there, you're having a laugh, you're trying to troll him and just fucking bust his balls and trying him to get to do the same. But I guarantee he watched that and thought, well, this fucking guy's out of his mind. He doesn't understand that it's a joke. I mean, did that ever occur to you?
I fucking occurs now. I'm fucking shitting myself.
Hey, bro, those Cubans are crazy. Remember, I ripped up a fucking Cuban flag and I threw it at Yoel Romero. Mate, the next day, I had about 100 death threats saying, never come to Cuba, never go to Miami. So, you know, just watch yourself, Darren. Go on, Lewis.
So I was going to say, Harrington just sent me a question. I don't know what this is, but I'm friends with Andrew Schultz, who's a comedian here in New York City. Do you have a beef with Andrew Schultz?
Andrew Schultz. Do I have a beef with him?
Yeah, that's what Harrington just sent me. What is that?
Why?
Harrington, speak up and explain yourself. Or
Please,
if you're
tell
not
me what
there,
this
don't
is.
speak up.
Israel Adesanya was on Andrew Schultz's Instagram Live.
Oh, yeah. Is that
What's
who it
going
is?
on?
He's talking a bit of shit, that Andrew, mate. I'll send some man them for him, mate. Let me tell you. Yeah, I seen, mate, you know, we're all bored, and I was on Insta and it come up. Israel is on a live, and I didn't know he was on a live, and I just went on it, and I was like, pussy boy, yo, answer me, pussy boy. And then that Andrew Schultz guy was like talking shit back to me. I was like, okay.
What?
Well, Darren, here's the thing, but you got to understand, these comedians, they think they're fucking hard. Lewis had one amateur rules MMA fight, right? He wore a fucking rash guard and a pair of board shorts. He fought another comedian. And now, when we're breaking down fights, he thinks he's one of us. He thinks he can talk with the same fucking magnitude. So this Andrew Schultz guy, you know, he's probably, you know, like just like our mate Lewis.
Mate, he's giving it the big one, this Andrew, mate. Trust me.
Look, I'm just saying there's only one fighter undefeated on this podcast right now. And
bastard, you have to throw that in there.
Yeah. All right, listen, before we let you go, I want to ask you about our mate Paul Kelly. Lewis, you don't know Paul, but Paul was an old teammate of mine, unfortunately, did a stretch inside. He's out, he's on the straight and narrow, and just had a big win. He's back to the MMA world, got a big win. How's he doing? And send my regards, please.
It's good that you brought that up, Mike. He's, you know, he's back in the gym. He wasn't training to, like, kill himself when he got back in, mate. He was just easing himself back in. Obviously, Mike, you know, he's fucking did do a proper stretch, mate. So, you know, he just wants to, I don't know where he wants to go with, like, this MMA now. If he wants to get to, like, you know, wherever. I believe he can if he trains hard enough and he's with the right gym. But, you know, he's just had that win now. Mike, he's got his little cafe in Bootle in Liverpool, mate. So he's, you know, he's got his bird, his kids and that. He's just cracking on, mate. And you know, it's just good to see him out, mate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a good lad.
No, he's an awesome lad. He really is. Just quickly before we let you go, and if you've got anything, Lewis, go after me. But remember back in the day, you and Leon Edwards were having a little bit of beef at that press conference. Of course, you're both flying the flag in the respective divisions now. You're both at the top of the food chain. How is it with you and Leon? Are you guys good, or, you know, is there any shit there?
Mike, listen, I've told you, mate. I've seen Leon a few times after, and it's always like, yeah, what's happening, mate? You're all right. It's always like that, you know. He's I think he's a good fighter, mate. I really do.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think he's the UK number one. I think I am now. I know I am. But I actually thought he was going to beat Woodley as well. I really did think he was going to beat Woodley. So I hope he does get that fight again. But I just told you, Mike, it is with me how it is. If you want it to be a real beef, it's a real beef. We'll have a straightener on the streets. You know how we are from Liverpool, mate, and Manchester and that. And if it's just one of them for the cam, that which your half was, then it's sound, mate, no problem. Nothing offends me. You can talk shit about my mum, my kids. Nothing offends me. So I'm a realist. If you want it to be real, it can be real. But if you want to have a joke and a laugh on camera and talk shit about anything, sound.
Lewis, anything before we let him go?
Well, I mean, just one thing I'll say. You got such a positive attitude. You know, we've spoken a couple times now, and every time I see you in an interview, and even with the crazy dark times we're living in right now, just maybe a little bit of a positivity and a little bit of inspiration for people. How do you stay so positive in these times?
I think, as I've just said to Mike, I think be real, and especially now with this social media platform, what everyone's portraying, be real. Don't post like you're living in a wonderland.
Isn't that the most fucking annoying thing? And the preachy bastards, the preachy assholes that have got no right to preach about fucking anything. Shut the fuck up.
Oh, mate, you kill me, you know me.
No, do you know what I mean? No, they're coming on and they're giving these like little like poems or whatever that they've just screenshotted off the internet, and they're proclaiming it to be their own. And it's like, I know you. You're a fucking. That is not how you behave at all. You're the most negative, shit, fucking talking, two-faced bitch I've ever met in my life. Mate. You're gonna come out with that shit.
Mate.
You're my coke dealer.
Right? Just the other day, Lewis. Just the other day, there's this girl. And, like, I know her. She doesn't, like, know what I know. And she's, like, coming on saying, yeah, you got to put this goodness in your body. And I was thinking, I seen you out last year sniffing all kinds of shite. Like, shut your fucking mouth, you silly twat. Like, honestly, mate, it's just, I think you need to be real and let your fans know that it's not a dreamland. It's just normal life. Post your positives and your negatives and your fails, and I think that's it, mate. I think that's it, and you'll be happy. Have real people around you. Be real. Be truthful. If you think someone's a cunt, tell them they're a cunt. And if you think someone's sound, tell them they're sound.
Well, exactly. At least you know where you stand. And I think, Darren, we have the same dentist. You know what I mean? Look at those fucking pearly whites. For English, we are flying the fucking flag, mate.
This is some fucking CGI shit. What is going on with the British teeth on this podcast?
Yeah, Lewis, show us your teeth. Show us your teeth, Lewis. No, they're not bad either. That's not bad. All right, Darren, listen, mate, it's late there. We'll let you go.
Thank you for having me on, Mike.
No, Darren, you're a star, mate. Keep flying the flag, and let's do this again soon.
Thank you, Darren Till.
See you later.
See you, mate. Take care. Well, that was good. That was good. Yeah, Darren's awesome. And that's the thing, you know, with that Northwest British sense of humor. He's right. Like, if you want to bust balls and talk a bit of shit, he's happy to do that, you know what I mean? But as he said, people from Liverpool, Manchester, the northwest of England is it's a different place. It's not like what everyone thinks. You know, in England, a lot of Americans think, oh, English are all posh and stuff like that. It's not necessarily like that up there. But I hope that fight with him and Robert Whittaker comes off soon. Sorry, Lewis, go ahead.
No, please. It reminds me of like the West Coast, East Coast thing. Like comedians have that. Like New Yorkers are very like ball busty and very like, well, fuck with you. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're wearing a dumb jacket, we're gonna make fun of your dumb jacket. On the West Coast, everyone's just sort of like trying to be friends and proper, and they don't want to rub it into the wrong way. So I think this is why me and you get along. It's because we have that very like you have a New York thing about you, even though it's just British. 100%.
That's what I say all the time. Sorry, Rebecca's trying to close the doors. It's because I got this window open and there's a breeze, there's a draft. She had the heat on. She disappeared out of the house for a while and left the heat on. The place is like a goddamn sauna in here. No, but you're right. I say that all the time. Obviously, I live in California, but I think the West Coast, they can't take a joke so much. And anyone in California that can take a joke, okay, I'm sorry, I apologize. But generally, I think the stereotype is that the East Coast has more of a British sense of humor, and I think you're right. That is why we click.
Yeah, I agree. There was actually, I posted it to Twitter and Instagram. Shout out to bjpenn.com. I guess they did a list of the top MMA podcasts that you should be listening to during this whole quarantine situation. And the way it was like a little write-up, but it was just the description. I couldn't have said it better myself, but it said, if no filter MMA commentary and sarcastic British humor is your cup of tea, then look no further. Believe You Me covers popular MMA topics with the added thoughts and stories of co-hosts Mike Bisping and Luis J. Gomez. The dynamic duo provides a Punch and Judy style commentary that is the podcast form of locker room banter. Boom.
I mean, we're not ones to sit around and pat ourselves on the back. You know what I mean? But if one of the biggest, most respected, highbrow media outlets in the world compares us to fucking Punch and Judy, that is racist. A cup of tea, British banter, Punch and Judy. Me and Darren have perfect teeth, okay? Punch and Judy were lowly peasants of the puppet world. You know, we're talking fucking, if you, me and Darren Till, we're not the Punch and Judy. We are the king and queen of podcasting.
Wait a minute, hold on. Who am I? Am I Judy? I'm not fucking. No, bitch. No,
you're Judy, bro, and I'm
Judy.
Punch, and I'm gonna punch you all day. All right,
James, you want to say hi? Want to say hi to Mr. Bisping?
Hi.
Hi, James. How you doing, buddy?
Hold on, you got to put the ear in.
How you doing, pal? You well?
I'm good.
How's this quarantine? Crazy, eh?
What?
This quarantine is crazy.
I don't know.
Self-isolation, the fact you don't go to school and you're going to stay with your smelly dad all day. What do you think of that? I can smell him. I can smell him through the computer screen.
No, that's not me. That's James's farts, actually, right now, who just farted as he sat next to me.
James, come on, no farts, buddy.
I don't think I farted. It was a teeny fart.
Yeah, it stinks.
Smell it.
Oh, my God.
I can smell it. Oh, God, that's bad. What is that?
I'm not making fun of you. It just, he can smell through the screen. That's how bad it is.
God, James, it smells like, what did you have last night? Hold on. Lucas, come here. Come say hi to James. Come here. Lucas, come here. Do as you're told right now. Here, James is here. Say hi to James.
Hi. Hi. Hi.
Hey,
Conversation,
we're gonna have when we come out to California in a few weeks. We're gonna have you guys do jujitsu against each other.
I'm gonna win.
Ooh, James, you heard him.
Easy.
James, what are you gonna do?
James, how old are you?
How old are you, James?
Okay, maybe 7 years old. Yeah.
How old are you, Lucas?
9.
So, but you understand, Lucas, that he's been doing longer
I know,
than you.
but I'm
He's been
bigger.
doing longer. You are bigger, but if you get beat, you're under pressure.
Show him your muscle.
I know, but the thing is, because I'm bigger, it'll be hard to do some moves on me. Because I'm bigger.
Look at those muscles, though. What do you think?
Hold on here.
Show yours.
Put it like in my ear.
Hope you're recording, Brian.
Show him. Get it. It's in your ear. Go. Show him your muscle.
Yeah, but listen, if you win, James, then that means the fathers have to fight.
No, James, throw the fight. Throw the fight.
Oh, come
Throw the
on.
fight.
Yeah, just the fathers.
Hold on.
Do the
Hold on.
Fathers.
What are you going to say, Lucas? What are you going to say?
Because I need to do homework, so I'm just gonna go.
Oh,
Wow.
you mean
Oh, he's afraid
homeschooling?
of that muscle.
homework.
James, he's afraid of that muscle. That's what it is.
Wait, hold on.
He says you're afraid of the
Ah, he's
muscles.
afraid.
Oh, yeah, totally.
How
Hey, Lewis.
Yes, Lucas.
When you texted my dad that you can't text because you're homeschooling James, and you never said
Hurry up, get to the
and you
point.
could have just typed the answer in that time.
I know he gave me a lot of crap about this already. Like father, like
I
son,
know.
apparently.
I heard him talking about it.
I know it's crazy.
Say bye to James and Lewis.
See you, bye.
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 See you,
All right,
buddy.
get out of here. Go.
Bye, James. Take care, bud.
I know. Good job.
Yeah, good
Oh,
times.
cute. Look, he made me a balloon animal.
Oh, well, that's good. What is that?
It's
Why do I hear music?
13 penises.
Where's the music coming from?
I don't know.
It's not RN.
You hear that?
Guys,
No.
I need silence while I do the show.
Oh, right. It was mine.
That's hilarious.
Could you hear it?
No, I couldn't.
A fucking Pearl Jam fucking blasted in my ears.
That was funny. Was that recorded for the show? Put that on the show. It's funny. It's cute.
Yeah. No, it is funny.
We're gonna eventually make them.
Yeah, we're going to make them fight. We're terrible parents. All right, let's get this done, guys. I want to go about my day. So, all right, 5, 4, 3. What are we talking? Oh, Mike Perry. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I tell you what. Here's. I wake up this morning. I'm lying in bed. You know, of course, we don't have to get up early and take the kids to school right now. So, coffee in bed at the moment is it's a thing that I'm enjoying. Mrs. Bisping's good at bringing the coffee. Anyway, so I lie there and I'm scrolling social media like one does in between working hard, you know, doing emails and things like that. But I come across this video and it's Mike Perry, as we know, the UFC's platinum Mike Perry. Who doesn't love Mike Perry? He is as real as they get. He's a great dude and one hell of a fighter. But as we were just talking about Jon Jones and I talked about myself, you know, we're fighters, right? More than likely, we've probably been in altercations outside of the octagon. Not everybody. That's not a hard and fast rule for all fighters. But, you know, a lot of people, they figure out that they can fight properly on the streets and they try and go professional and, you know, turn their lives around.
Have you ever heard of anybody that's never been into any street fight ever outside of MMA?
I believe
pro?
Rory McDonald said that.
Really?
I think so. And there is a few, I can't remember off the top of my head, but there's a few that are, you know, quite proud that say, listen, no, I've never had a street fight in my life. I'm a martial artist and good for them. That's very commendable. It's great, you know, but it's not the path of all fighters. And I would say the majority of them come from maybe a troubled path and they turn their lives around. Anyway, Mike Perry seems to be one of those types. In fact, I go out on a limb and say he is one of those types. And on Instagram this morning, he puts on a video of him and his girlfriend or his wife, pardon me. I don't know if this was recently, although it did say Throwback Thursday, but we don't know how much of a throwback. And he's there and here he is and he's on the beach and he's dressed like somebody from Miami Vice, all in white, head to toe, and then boom,
Ooh.
left hook Larry,
Puts him down.
left hook Perry, drops him. Have you got some sound?
Let's see. Oh, Jesus.
It was a good shot.
was a
He
great
went with the jab, turned it into a left hook, wobbled his head, and dropped him down on the floor. Now, apparently, he'd already punched Mike Perry in the face. That's what he says on Instagram. He said, that's what you didn't see. He said, that's why everybody was looking. That's why everybody was filming. And allegedly, he got punched in the face first. Still,
that guy was racist. Obviously, the guy that he punched. He was a child molester.
Why is everything going to come back to race? Why
He's a racist child molester.
Why wasn't he? He could have just been something as innocent as feeling his wife's ass, which I'm not saying is innocent, but it's not as bad as being a racist.
That is way worse than being a child molester in 2020. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Disrespecting a woman?
If you ask a feminist, it is. If you ask a child, if we ask Harrington, I hate to bring up those poor memories, but when your dad came into your room later, in fact, terrible taste. We shouldn't do that. But yeah, what is Mike Perry doing? You don't put your street victories on Instagram when you're a famous UFC fighter.
It's a badass punch right there, though.
It's a great shot.
That was a great shot. If you had that shot on video, Bisping, you had that shot on video, you wouldn't say, oh, look at this little throwback.
I'll tell you right now, if I had that on video, that would be going in my upcoming documentary. Look at what a badass I was on the street. I was like, here's me at Miami Beach. It's cool as fuck. I'm decked out in white. I look like an extra from fucking New Jack City or, no, what is it, Grand Theft Auto. You know, I've got the soundtrack to Scarface going on in my head and then boom, little left hook. That's just how I rolled back in the day, guys.
Of course. Dude, if you had that video, that would be the intro to the show.
Yeah, never mind winning the belt. It'd be that. So yeah, Mike Perry. Love Mike. Let's get Mike on sometime. Jose Aldo. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say we were supposed to get him on. We were tweeting back and forth at one point, and then it didn't. It was supposed to happen, and it didn't.
No, we did. We did have him on. We did have him on one time. But Mike Harrington, I see you put something in the news or the notes about Jose Aldo. What is going on with Jose Aldo, Harrington, and what is he saying right now?
Well, Jose Aldo is not concerned with the quarantine at all. He says that it is going to take him no less than 1 week to get or no more than 1 week to get prepared to beat Henry Cejudo. Says his real opponent is the scale and just making 135 for the fight.
I can't say I disagree with that, to be honest. I mean, number one, the scale is the hardest battle for him. I mean, making 135. Making 145 for Jose Aldo was hard, and it was well documented. There was a lot of video blogs back in the day where he was making 145 and almost dying in the bathtub and things like that. So 135, I mean, my word. Although he did do it successfully in his last fight. Was it Marlon Moraes? It was Marlon Moraes, even though he lost. But he's getting the shot against Cejudo. Again, I'll go out there. I'll go out on a limb. I think it's the right move. I think it's a gangster move of the UFC to do that because we were talking about the judges on the last show. The judges got it wrong on that one, in my opinion. However, saying he only needs 1 week to get ready for Henry Cejudo. I mean, that's a bold claim. But Jose Aldo was long considered, and people have forgotten this, long considered to have the best takedown defense in the game. And he fought wrestler after wrestler after wrestler because he was the guy back in the day that was just destroying people with leg kicks. Of course, he had a complete striking arsenal, knees, elbows, kicks, you name it. But it was the kicks. He would destroy people with leg kicks. So everybody just said, take him down. But they could not get him down. And I think against Henry Cejudo, I don't think Henry's going to have much success in trying to take him down either.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, you're probably right about that. I think it's just interesting to hear him say that he's ready on a week's notice, right? And there are a few guys, we had them on recently. People are training. A lot of guys are still bringing guys in. A lot of, they're being more selective. Everyone's being a little more careful. But there's an interesting opportunity, likely, because Dana White is saying at 249, it's not only going to just be, Tony and Khabib, but he's talking about putting on some other fights as well. He said it's going to be a massive card. Was it Struve? So I forget who it was. Regardless,
Jairzinho Rozenstruik,
right,
taking on Ngannou. Yeah, because that was supposed to be this Saturday in Columbus, Ohio. I was going to be commentating that one and then flying down to Skankfest in Houston. Now, of course, that fight card don't start. Don't
get me going.
Skankfest is postponed, baby boys.
September,
I'm going to be
baby
honest. We're going off on a tangent now. I'm just going to be honest. I did not want to. I was coming. I'd committed to Skankfest. But I was
doing so. Say what you're about to say.
Listen, I was doing so much traveling. I didn't want to be there. I was if
It's not even
coronavirus.
happening. There's no reason to say it. You
But
can
I'm
say,
just saying.
I'm heartbroken.
You
I don't
weren't-
need the honesty. The
you
fans
weren't-
need the honesty.
You weren't listening to me. If you'd have listened to me, I was going to Brazil. I come back, then I go to London, then I go to Columbus, Ohio. Then I was going to go fly straight to Houston for Skankfest, but I was going to do it. That's the real ass dude that I am. Anyway, alas, that did not happen. And you're right, that fight in Columbus, Ngannou, Rosenstrike, they're talking about that on 249. So, I mean, and as you said, Dana White saying, and as you mentioned as well, or somebody else, I mean, the fight cards that they're going to be able to do soon are just going to be incredible. And with Jose Aldo saying that, maybe he's alluding to that.
Yes.
Right?
Well, that's the thing. There's an opportunity for anybody who's in shape right now. Because they're going to come back and it's like, oh, shit, they need fucking a dozen fights, right? And then they're going to have another card, another card. So anybody who's staying in shape right now has an opportunity to sort of jump in, and it's sort of like mixing things up. And I forget who it was. It was somebody on the other day that was saying that it's just going to be fucking massive card after massive card. So I think the fact that Jose is saying that is definitely indicative of something. And to be honest with you, it's just, we don't know. It could be another 6 months. It could be another 2 weeks. We have no clue. I was saying that just with my comedy. Every comedy show has been canceled for every comedy club. As soon as I'm going to just make myself available for every fucking room. So when it opens back up, I'm going to just strike first and strike hard, baby boy. This is an opportunity for the people that aren't lazy. This is an opportunity to move ahead. There's two different types of attitudes. There's types of people that are going, thank God, I don't have to go to work right now. And then there's the other type of people that are going like, how can I figure out ways to work? How can I figure out ways to move forward and grow and continue to, and certain people have that attitude. And I think those people are going to move ahead of the pack in this shitty time.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I keep saying to myself, I'm going to be productive because I have got this time at home and I am being productive. We're doing a lot of podcasts and I'm doing some other things as well. But I do need to do more. I need to read more and I want to start writing. There's a couple of things I want to write. So I've got to take this time. But joining us right now is a good friend of mine and the founder of Sanabul and a medical doctor, a degree in biochemistry or biomedicine, or a degree. He's a very, very smart man, a very good friend of mine. And as I said, the founder of Sanabul Sports. So Imran Jawaid. Imran, welcome to the show, my friend. Thanks for taking the time out of your day. I know you're a busy man, as well as being a very successful entrepreneur and founding the brand Sanabul, which I'm a proud ambassador for. You used to be, or are, well, you still are. You're a trained medical professional, correct?
That is partially correct. So I have a degree in biology, general bio from undergrad, and a degree in medicine. But I do have to throw out this disclaimer. I am literally here to talk shit. I'm not here to give any medical advice. Don't listen to me. Listen to the experts, which have spent 30 years or plus, giving actual advice on what's going on.
Yes, Imran, but with respect, you got a degree in biology and you got a degree in medicine. So therefore, and by the way, talking shit is our forte. That's all we do. We're not the Joe Rogan podcast. Don't come here for scientific tidbits. But that's why we brought you on, Imran. Finally, somebody can get some reputable, well thought out, structured advice on this whole coronavirus issue. I mean,
yeah, Imran, me and Bisping act like we're experts on the issue, and both of us dropped out of the 8th grade. So the fact that you know something and can give a little bit of insight, it's actually kind of funny because he knows enough to know that he doesn't know anything, which is actually a brilliant insight right there. But we would love, obviously, to talk to you about a million things, obviously, related to what's going on and MMA. How are you Is it affecting your business? Because it seems to be affecting everyone's business in a very, very big way.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I mean, some businesses have been affected tremendously. Like, say, for example, gyms. They have to either are forced to close down or voluntarily shutting down. And restaurants and other service industry businesses are really affected by this. Now, I was on the phone the other day with some of my friends, and they're involved in the supplement business. That's going through the roof because people just assume that, hey, if I buy extra protein powder during this crisis, somehow I'm going to, prevent myself from getting coronavirus. So,
yeah, well, sorry, carry on, Imran. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah. So really, honestly, it depends on the business. Our business in general, obviously it's been affected because you can't go to the gym. Most people are doing jujitsu or, boxing or training in group settings. And of course, it's not recommended to do that during this time of crisis. So, yeah, we've taken a hit, but honestly, that you just have to remember the biggest priority is people's lives. We can bounce back from something like this, but, health is the most important thing to us at this point.
Imran, from a medical standpoint and to the best of your knowledge, because I am genuinely curious about this. So, of course, everybody's self-isolating. We're trying to flatten the curve and all these trendy terms that we're now using as if we've used them for years. Okay, but it is new terminology, so to speak. Well, it is to me. But if we continue to self-isolate and we do the correct thing, how long, in your opinion, will it take for the virus for what's the expression, to pass through our community and no longer be a threat? How long do you envision that this type of behavior needs to continue?
Yeah, so that's the $1 million question that everybody's trying to figure out right now. It's probably the most important question that the general public is facing, but even all the health experts, they're trying to figure out, first of all, what this virus is, how to treat it, how to make an immunization to it. And I'll go into that. I'll talk about the difference between a treatment, immunization, but I think everybody's just really curious as how long this is going to last, because it just affects our day-to-day living, and we're not used to this. I will tell you, in the recent past, we forget about, as human beings, we forget about things rather quickly, right? When something might happen to us and we just forget about it and we do it again. That's how history repeats itself. And in 2009, we had the swine flu pandemic. And that one was, a variant, that virus was a variant of the influenza virus, similar to the Spanish flu in like 1917. And, we dealt through that for about a year. And, what happened was that there was this just kind of an explosion of just new infections, everything. And then we try to figure out, the treatment towards it. That kind of slows down things. And then at the end of it, we just kind of forget about it until it happens again like this. Now, when it goes back to the whole flattening the curve, right? So what they're talking about is that I wish I could visually show you right now, but as far as the curve is concerned, there is only a maximum amount of people that can get this virus, right? The infection can only go to a certain amount of people, because people will either recover from it or die from it. So that curve, naturally, it's going to look kind of like a speed bump, right? It goes up and then it comes down. Now, by flattening the curve, we have to remember that not only are we, kind of holding down the number of people that are infected, but we're actually prolonging the curve. So the period of time that it'll take for everybody to get infected that's exposed to this will be longer than if they were just to get infected, without us social distancing and things like that. The reason why that is so important is, one, we don't have a treatment for this. We don't have there we go. Now we have a curve on the screen. So we don't have a treatment for this, and we don't have a vaccine for this, right? So if we don't take care of that curve, our hospital system, both here in the States and overseas, will just get overrun. That's what's happening in Italy, is that they have to pick and choose who they're going to provide healthcare to. And say, a healthy person was just going down the street, end up getting, hit by a car or something else, this would probably be the worst time to actually go to a hospital, because you might not get the care that you need. So it's really important to make sure that we try to lower the amount of new cases per day, so that we don't overrun the hospital system, if that makes sense.
Is there anything to, because this is something that I just personally haven't been able to sort of wrap my head around. The more people that are tested, the more people technically have it. So we see these numbers exploding in New York, but it's because there's now testing people. And I know a few people now that have tested positive for it, and a few of them haven't really shown, much signs, or they were a little sick or whatever it was. What do you sort of think about that? Maybe, because I feel like if I felt sick right now, I wouldn't go get tested. So sort of these numbers are sort of imaginary. They're not really, we don't really know what the actual number would be.
Mm-hmm. So testing is really important in the beginning stages of something like this, right? It allows us to figure out, where the centralized locations are, where, like, for example, California and New York. if we test early enough, we can start to implement different types of regulations or quarantines to slow down the infection rate based on where we see this thing popping up. So in order to answer your question about testing and say, for example, you're in New York, if you're starting to feel sick, if you're even remotely thinking that you've been exposed to somebody that's sick, the best thing to do is just stay home and act as if you have the coronavirus. Call your healthcare professional. If you're in a certain age group.
By the way, that's you at this point.
No, I can send you boxing gloves. I can't send you coronavirus.
It's funny you mentioned that, Imran, because that request is on its way. Don't you worry.
Hey, we've got plenty of those. So I wish we had as many testing kits as we do boxing gloves right now, but unfortunately.
Sorry, you were saying. Please continue.
Yeah, I was saying, if you remotely think you even have it, or have been exposed to somebody, I mean, you should be sitting at home. But if you really think that you've been exposed to somebody or that you have it, you need to isolate, very strictly and make sure that you're just limiting it. Because, at this point, our job, all of us here are fairly healthy. Not to say that it can't affect, younger people as well. But our job is to essentially try to make sure that we mitigate any chance of infecting, elderly people. We all know, have family members that are in the age groups that are really devastated by this.
So I'm going to go back to the earlier question that I asked you, Imran. And again, I understand you don't have a hard and fast answer. There is no scientific background to say this will be 2 months and then it's all taken care of. But if you were to estimate the amount of time for this tactic, for want of a better word, to be successful, how long do you think that this is going to continue from a medical standpoint?
And if you're not picking up Mike's hint, he's losing his fucking mind being at home with his family.
Exactly. I can't take this for much longer, Imran. I will be up on manslaughter charges pretty soon.
A side note on that, if you Google China divorce, you will see that divorce applications from citizens in China have just spiked from all the time that people have spent indoors with their significant others.
Poor guys.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously takes a toll, on people to stay inside, and we all want to know. Again, Mike, I'm going to do a great job of just saying, I don't know. To answer your question, there is an expert. He's a Nobel Prize-winning biologist, actually a biochemist. His name is Dr. Michael Levitt. He was the one that successfully predicted when China would come out of basically this whole pandemic there. So China, as you know, has resumed operations in a lot of businesses earlier this week. You might have started getting emails and spam phone calls. And so businesses as usual, coming back around over there. And he was the one to successfully predict that. One of the things, he was talking about was that as human beings, we naturally have immunity to certain things, or we can fight off certain things. And my apologies for that.
All good?
Yeah, so we can, have some form of immunity towards it, whether we go through the infection or we just fight it off initially. One of the things he alluded to was that there was a cruise ship off the coast of the U.S., right, which had coronavirus infection on it, infected patients on there. Now, cruise ships are notoriously bad in public health and medicine as like one of the worst places where you want to be if there's an infection. So there's a few other, illnesses that just pass around to everybody on a cruise ship because you're confined, the air circulating between all the rooms. And what we saw from that cruise ship, or what they saw from the experts saw from that cruise ship, was only about 20% of the people that were, I believe 20% of the people that were on that cruise ship actually ended up developing, serious illness from this. So what this expert, Dr. Michael Levitt, is saying is that, he believes that we will get out of this sooner than later. There is some kind of glimmer of hope there, because the fact that we all, a lot more of us have been exposed to it than we initially believe. My kind of opinion on that is, we've seen just in news articles, we're getting, public officials, but also, I think the Canadian Prime Minister's wife, Tom Hanks, a bunch of these people, tested positive for coronavirus. Now,
Prince Charles. Prince Charles, come on, the royal family. I just want to ask you something you said there. What is the reasoning for only 20% of people getting infected on that cruise ship, though? Do they have a theory for that?
Yeah, I mean, a human body is for most of us, it's a pretty effective tool in like fighting off things like this. I mean, it's the reason why we're able to withstand from being sick all the time. And, generally the healthier the immune system, we can fight off an infection. Our body will develop what's called antibodies against it. And it gives us some form of, resistance against getting sick and not developing it further. Now, the problem is, with something like this, I mean, people forget how far we've advanced in medicine. I mean, a situation like this kind of gives us an idea of like, we generally, for the majority of the population on a day-to-day basis, we don't worry about dying, right? So, we forget that we have so many different drugs. We have so many different vaccines for illnesses that were, wiping out populations like 100 years ago. And so when something like this comes up, it's just kind of mind-blowing because for most people, it's like, wait a minute, we're supposed to have a cure for this. We're supposed to somehow throw money at this and fix it. And this is something we've never seen before. Now, we've seen similar things, like, for example, the SARS virus the SARS epidemic and pandemic and MERS. They were a distant relative of the current COVID-19 coronavirus strain. And again, in both those situations, I mean, SARS was in 2003, by the time we developed a vaccine, most people had been exposed to it or we had been treating it. And slowly the virus stops, infecting more and more people because either you've gone through it or you're, vaccinated against it. And so by the time we had a proper vaccine for it, the epidemic was actually over.
Yeah, Imran, it's very funny because you at the top of it, you're like, no, I don't really want to talk about this. It's not really. It's you. I've never heard somebody articulate this stuff better than you so far. And to be honest with you, I really like what I'm hearing, what you're saying. You're the first person that I've heard say anything even slightly optimistic, where I'm hearing that there may be something, so it's good. I mean, look, the reality is I think that most people want to be right and most people feel like, hey, if they bank on the worst case scenario, they're wrong and that's good for society. Just let me ask you a question, just because you seem to be very intelligent and understand this on a higher level than most. What are you doing on a daily basis with you, your friends, and your family in order to make sure, or in order to be acting responsible? What you feel would be responsible, because I want to make sure that I'm doing that. We've debated sort of a lot of different aspects on this on the show, but the reality is I think we all agree that we want everyone to be safe and we want our friends and family to be healthy. So what are you personally doing? Because to be honest with you, I would take my cues from you because you sound more in the know than most people that we've spoken to on the matter.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, I'm merely translating all the information that I'm receiving and somehow trying to explain it to people that might not have the scientific background. The first thing I will say is that this is the number one priority of every country around the world right now. So there are people that are 100 times smarter than me that are out there right now on the front lines, like, for example, Dr. Anthony Fauci and his team, and then even the governments, they've got their own laboratories. They're trying desperately to work on a treatment and a vaccine for this. The other positive thing is, generally isn't, but due to economic motives, people have really ramped up efforts. So whether it's the economy in general or pharmaceutical industries, I mean, this is the number one priority on most people's minds. So we can't forget that, these people are working day and night to try to figure out a solution to this. So what we have to do is just make sure that we don't overrun the medical system. And we don't expose people that might not have as much of a fighting chance as we do to this virus. I have friends that are working in the ERs around Los Angeles, all across the country right now, and they are just, in the trenches. I mean, this is really bad. They're running out of masks. They're running out of PPEs. I'm sure you guys have heard that term. This stands for personal protective equipment. That includes like gowns, face masks, breathing masks, gloves, things like that. And and that's because we weren't prepared for this, and we're just, you know, I mean, we're just not ready for something like this, and it's overrunning the ERs and then the hospital system. So what we can do, and as bad as it sounds, is you know, as hard as it sounds, is literally just try to stay put, limit our interaction with the people that we're either quarantined with or the people that we really desperately, you know, have to help. So for example, if somebody can't go out, somebody is older, you know, maybe parents, you know, anybody else like that, you know, maybe, you know, if they need anything, that you can be the one to provide it for them. But, you know, doing what the experts are saying, which is just try to stay put as much as possible. And I know that sounds easy, but the reason why I say it's hard is because there's a lot of people that are, you know, that are working on hourly wages. There's a lot of people that have been working, you know, in the service industry, and they're scared out of their minds because they're not making any money. And it's, you know, and that I think, you know, really pushes a lot of people to get even more anxious and to try to figure out what's going on to try to get out there. But, you know, unfortunately, we really have to kind of stay put. Luckily, you know, there again, like I mentioned, there are a bunch of, you know, experts that are working on this. We are testing out different treatments and things like that, and vaccines, but, you know, we just have to stay put.
And let me piggyback onto that a little bit, because what you're saying is very interesting. Do you think that maybe the media could have possibly handled it differently? Because it seemed to be a lot of, you know, everyone, it was a blitz, and everyone was either really afraid or kind of calling bullshit. And so it was this weird thing. So I think everyone was not acting accordingly. Everyone was either going like, oh my God, I have a cough, let me run to the emergency room. Or people were going like, this isn't real. Who cares? Let's go to bars. Let's go to the beach. Let's party. So everyone sort of reacted, in my opinion, not the way that you should have been acting. Do you feel like we could have handled it not only on the medical side differently, but sort of on the media side differently?
Yeah, well, that's fundamentally a fundamental question in just how our society is, right? If you look at, for example, China, which is an authoritarian country, you know, they can shut down everything the next day. I mean, I was there in September, and, you know, I was looking around at the recycling program, and I asked somebody that was living there, and they're like, they implemented this within a week, you know, to cut down, to basically cut down on different emissions, and then also the recycling program, they want to implement that. Now, going back to that, as a U.S. society, as a Western country, you know, we're just so entitled to create our own opinions about everything. You know, everybody's a scientist during these times. Everybody's a doctor. They're like, no, I don't believe it. I'm not sick. I'm going to go out. Unfortunately, most people these days are likely to react out of fear than they are out of, you know, some kind of positive benefit that they don't immediately see. I mean, another example of this is, you know, like saving money, right? Like people are like, well, I need to, you know, spend money on something now instead of saving it for later, letting it compound and build up. Most people are likely to just, you know, spend the money right away. And so this fear, yes, it does create this kind of looming sense of anxiety and stress for a lot of people. But I do believe that it's needed to get people to understand this situation, because this is not an enemy that we can see, that we can actually, you know, visualize. This is something that can spread without us even knowing. And it did.
Well, unfortunately, there's always going to be outlets, whether it's a website, newspaper, the news on TV, that are going to sensationalize anything, because that's how they get hits. That's how they sell advertisers. That's how they generate money, right? Trying to fearmonger and scare people and whip us all into a frenzy and a panic. And as you say, that's more of a problem with society than anything to do with the medical space. What I will say is that we need to probably investigate our producer, Mike Harrington, because he's lived in such a bacteria-infested self-isolation for so long, but this guy is still very, very healthy. He still lives a fundamentally normal life, and he hasn't showered in months or years or millennia, who knows. And this guy is having a boxing fight coming up very, very soon, and he was very vocal about having you on, Imran, because I wanted you on to hear from the brilliance that you know from the medical aspect. But he knows you're the founder of Sanabul, and this is just a ruse to get some free gloves out of you, Imran. Now, I will say the gloves are fantastic. They're excellent quality, great value for money. But the question is, will you donate some to Mike Harrington in his debut mixed martial arts contest?
You know, as a fellow introvert, I will have to support Mike's efforts. I know introverts like himself are really kind of thriving during this time. So,
well, hold on. Mike is not an introvert. Mike just doesn't have friends.
Okay.
He's
an introvert, but not by choice.
Yeah. Yes, no, not at all. Mike is actually training for this fight, and I'm his head coach. So you can only imagine how bad this is going to be. Any advice for Harrington?
Nope. he's in a lot of trouble.
See, that's the thing. That's the Imran stays in his lane. And as you said about me, I know what I don't know. For the most part, I do. You shut the hell up on certain things. I know what I don't know. Imran certainly doesn't. Imran, how long you ran Sanabul now? And I know there's myself and there's Sean O'Malley. Who else we got on the roster that some of our listeners may have heard of?
Yeah, we've been around since 2014. After finishing medical school, graduating, I decided instead of saving lives, I would rather make boxing gloves to punch people in the face with. So we've been around since then. We've got obviously you, Sean, John Danaher, who's in New York.
Yep.
We've got a Bellator fighter, Bamba, and then we're going to pick up a few other people once this kind of situation slows down. One thing that's really been, on the forefront of my mind is, fighters during this time are similar to people that are, working in the service industry, where if you don't fight, you don't make money. And especially nowadays with, the whole Reebok situation and, just general sponsors, a lot of these guys got their fights canceled and it's got to be tough to support a family and to figure out like what to do during this period of time and, hold out and hold on to that little bit of hope.
I'm on the website right now, and I see that you got Star Wars gloves here that are actually, sponsored by Star Wars. How difficult was it to work out that type of deal? I mean, that's Disney. I can imagine trying to work on a deal with Disney.
And let me tell you, just before he answers that question, I've got the Darth Vader, the R2-D2, and the Stormtrooper, and they are, part of my language, fucking sick. Sorry, Imran, go ahead.
No, I appreciate that. Disney, it's great. Disney is Disney, right? I mean, they're just one of the most iconic brands in all of history. And we wanted to work with them. They wanted to work with us. And, it's been a great partnership. Obviously, we plan on releasing a lot more products while we continue this partnership with them. And, and really...
Snow White.
I'm sorry? Oh, no, I'm not talking about other kind of offshoots. We're going to stay in one galaxy. We're going to stay in the Star Wars galaxy for now. But, we've got other items within that Star Wars lineup that we're planning on releasing. We're just going to wait till, things kind of calm down from this. But our goal is to not only make the best products on Earth, but also the universe. So.
Well, I stand by the quality of those products. They are sensational. They really are. What we want to do, Imran, we want to reward some of our loyal listeners with some gloves. We're trying to come up with a competition idea. We don't know how many you're willing, to part ways with, but maybe if you could donate 3 pairs of gloves, we're going to come up with a competition. Lewis, if you got any ideas, or Imran, any ideas? We were thinking whoever sends in the 3 funniest home workout videos, we'll donate a pair of gloves, or you, Sanabul, will donate a pair of gloves. We're speaking for you, of course, but you got any ideas, or Lewis got any ideas?
So the first thing I'll say is we'll take that number from 3 to 30.
Oh, whoa, geez, Louise. All right, okay.
Times are desperate, and not only will we put gloves, we'll also put punch mitts in them. So you can go ahead and actually, if you're quarantined with somebody, get a workout in. But if you're not, then you'll just have gloves and punch mitts.
All right, we got to do something really easy then, because we have to have hundreds of people enter at least in order to make it worthwhile.
Yeah, so we've got 200,000 listeners, Lewis, so we can achieve it. We can come up with a relatively simple
workout videos. That's psychotic.
No, we're not having 30 workout videos. We have to make that easier because we are not that organized to even watch all the videos, Imran. But we'll come up with an idea. We'll think about it on the next show. We'll announce it. But that's beautiful, Imran. We really appreciate it. We know that the listeners will appreciate that. So 30 gloves and 30 mitts. It's just absolutely fantastic. Very, very generous of you.
Imran is just trying to push his inventory onto us. He has some old shit from last season. It's not up to the standards of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. So, yeah, I know what's going on here.
Why would you do that? Why would you take a generous, kind offer and try and turn it into something nasty like that? My word. All right, Imran, listen, I'm sure you're a very busy man. One more time, I'm very, very proud to be on the Sanabul team. Thank you for joining us today. A lot of very, very useful information. And as I say, we'll talk, we'll connect via text or whatever. We'll figure out the competition and we'll make it work for everybody. But that is very, very generous. Thank you, Imran.
Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
You're the man.
All the best,
brother.
buddy. Take care, Imran. We'll talk soon.
All right, real quick, we got to mention this because 249 at this point, there's a buzz. There's definitely a buzz. You predicted, and now it seems like it's probably not correct, that it's going to be that you think the fight could be.
Don't throw me under a bus. We were talking about it, right? And you said Khabib's gone to Russia, and I'm like, it's a possibility. Don't say Michael Bisping on the last show, quite frankly, and very adamantly stated that the fight is happening in Russia. I was like, oh, well,
I'd be embarrassed.
It was a throwaway comment. I'd be embarrassed if you did that. It was a throwaway comment, okay?
You were if it would have come true, Michael Bisping, the gloating that we would be dealing with right now, he'd be wearing a fucking king's hat, holding a scepter. He'd be having people feeding him grapes right now. It's a goddamn nightmare.
Sounds like a day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Another day in the life of Michael Bisping. Come on, peel me a grape, peasant.
So here's what happened. So I guess with there being no sports betting right now, this is kind of interesting. There have been Vegas odds set on the location of UFC 249. Did Harrington send these to you? He did, right?
No, but Harrington, give us the odds. Give us the odds or give us a bit of background info.
Okay, so the odds-on leader in the clubhouse right now is Florida. I believe that is 2-1, and then Russia is on there at 4-1. United Arab Emirates 7-2, Mexico 5-1, Saudi Arabia 9-1, South Africa 10-1, and then it gets crazy. International Waters 25-1, Area 51 80-1, and North Korea 100-1.
How much did Italy? I'll take the Italy odds.
It's not on the board.
UFC Milan, that's not happening?
Yeah. I tell you what, because am I correct in thinking that not UFC, WrestleMania is going ahead without a crowd in Florida? Is that correct?
Yeah, they're doing it at the Performance Institute in I think it's in Tampa or Orlando or something like that.
Well, there you go. That lays the blueprint. Simple as that. If WrestleMania have the go ahead by the government. Sorry, the governor or the people in charge of the the governing bodies. There you go. Thank you, Lewis. The governing bodies in Florida, they can go ahead and do this. They can do WrestleMania without a crowd. Well, then there you go. That sets a precedent for UFC to do the same.
I don't think that technically, from a legal standpoint, I think right now, legally, they could rent a warehouse, put an octagon in it, shoot two guys fighting in a cage. In almost anywhere, I don't think it's actually against the law to do that in any state right now. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
No. It's the gatherings or the public gatherings. At first it was 100, then it was 50. Now I think it's down to 10. I don't know what the standing is in Florida right now, but I feel like.
Why would Florida be the place now? Only because WrestleMania is there, and apparently.
Have you been watching the Tiger King on Netflix? Have you seen the shit that goes on in Florida?
I've been seeing people talking about Tiger King so much. I haven't seen it yet. Is it cool?
It's actually a really good show, although Callum is 3 episodes ahead of us, the prick. We were waiting for him, and he went into his bedroom and watched on ahead. It's not what you do. It's not protocol. But yeah, no, it's a decent show. Point is, I've been to Florida, okay, and I've heard a lot of things about Floridians, Floriders, right? And I've seen the Tiger King. And the shit that's going on there. Yeah.
And Detective Bisping, he is deduced.
Hold on. I'm seeing the Tiger King. He's a gay tiger lover, okay? I'm seeing the murderous ex-wife of a multi-millionaire.
Does he love gay tigers, or is he a gay guy that loves tigers?
Anything's possible in Florida. The Sunshine State, it's always sunny in Philadelphia. They're smiling from ear to ear. They're fucking tigers. They don't discriminate. They don't see gender. They don't see species. One thing they don't see either is the problem with people getting together to do this fight. And let's be honest, let's be honest. We know there's a lot of journalists out there that are shitting on the UFC. They're saying, oh, this is ridiculous. This is reckless. This is going against everything. And all right, okay, maybe. But as an MMA fan, in a contained environment, taking all the precautions necessary, I still want to see Tony and Khabib go at it. And certainly if they're going to throw in Ngannou and Rosenstruck and God knows, Cejudo and Aldo and whatever badass fights are already on there, if they can do it in a safe environment where no one's going to get, contracted with any diseases or viruses or illnesses or sickness, right? I want to goddamn see that.
Yeah, and here's the reality: the UFC, they're smart. Okay, they know that they want to maintain a good public image. They're not just saying "fuck it," let's invite 10,000 people into a stadium and let's try to figure out a way where we can do that. They're saying no. Let's figure out a way where we can have these guys who invest, a half a year of their lives in some cases. They fight twice a year on the high level. Once the guys get to the highest level, they only fight twice a year on average. If that, right? So this is the way that they live their lives. And to be honest with you, you put it on a scale, it's like, let's say 30, 40 people are involved in this production and everyone's keeping a safe distance and everyone's being very responsible about it. Why is creating this entertainment not considered an essential business when people it really makes people feel great and it gives people hope and it inspires people and the positive that it does for people, especially if you have it in a controlled, safe environment, far outweighs the negative, in my opinion.
Well,
hold on, because I go past fucking in my neighborhood. Subway sandwich shop is open. There's a cookie store that's open. There's a coffee shop that's open, and there's limited hours. But these are considered essential businesses because you need to be able to order a fucking latte or have a chocolate chip cookie. That's sort of crazy to me. The liquor store is open, but creating this entertainment, which is giving people in their home lives where they're fucking losing their minds, having entertainment it's really essential, in my opinion.
I see what you're saying. I see the argument that you're making, and Dana White may want to revisit this issue of calling you an idiot because he's texted me a few times and said the show's great.
I thought it was once.
All right, once. Okay, whatever. It's more fun to add it, to exaggerate.
Oh, yeah,
okay?
Of course. On my fucking...
Dana can't stand you, okay? But after seeing that, he might want to revisit this issue because you make a good point. But here's the thing. It isn't essential. Now, I'm not going against the grain. I want this to happen. As I just said, if done in the correct environment, a controlled environment, and they take all precautions necessary, we want to see it. But it isn't, essential for mankind purposes. We want to eat. We would need to, for some reason, guns are essential stores in America, which is hilarious. But in England, they did make the off license where you buy booze from. They made that essential. And it kind of is. If you're going to be locked down on quarantine inside the house, you need some booze. So it is essential. Now, I'm all for this fight happening if done in a correct control environment, as I said. And also from the UFC's perspective, I guarantee, and I haven't spoken to Dana. This is me just going out on a limb here and maybe making wild claims or whatever. But I would assume that this pay-per-view, not only has it been booked 4 times in the past, this is the 5th booking, not only is it the 2 best lightweights on the planet, Khabib by far, and then Tony Ferguson, his resume is fantastic, 9 or 10 fight win streak. This is just such a great matchup, the 2 best lightweights on the planet, and it's been booked 5 times now. Not only that, there's nothing else to watch. Can you imagine the pay-per-view buy rates on this one, right? Because Khabib is an all-out star. He is a mega star. That is not up for debate. Tony Ferguson, I don't know if he's a pay-per-view megastar, but combined with Khabib, it makes it such a story, such a fight that I want to see that's got so much hype and build-up to it. Then you combine it with the fact that on the news this morning, I shit you not, they are live streaming marbles on YouTube that's getting hundreds of thousands of views because people have got nothing to watch. Yeah. But you're going to put on the most highly anticipated mixed martial arts fight ever of 2 of the most skilled to ever do it. It was already going to do over 1 million pay-per-view buys, but the pays now, if this, in this current climate, the buys, the pay-per-view buys in this current climate with no sports on TV and everybody being forced to sit at home, certainly at the weekends anyway. So if there is people going out there that have to work, because some people do, unfortunately, not everybody has the luxury of staying at home. For the most part, the weekends they'll have off. And there's nothing to watch. There's no sport. There's nothing for it to compete with. The pay-per-view buys will be absolutely astronomical.
Two things. Number one, I was going to say what the UFC should do, and it's going to completely counteract everything, that entire speech you just gave about the pay-per-view buys and how much nobody has anything to do. This is going to just be completely the opposite.
Okay. I mean, listen, it wouldn't be the first time you tried to make me look like a fool. Okay, try. Go ahead.
Fool. So, we're such children. How does any woman let us have sex with them? It's crazy.
Just crack on with your fucking stupid point that's going to go nowhere.
It's good. It is a good point, actually. I was going to say, if Dana White wants to answer the critics, because people are like, oh, it's irresponsible, yada, 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 whatever. Do it for free. Make it no pay-per-view. Put it out for free. Put it as a piece of content. It's it. Hold on. Let me finish. Can I finish?
What are you doing? I just said Dana might want to revisit the issue of you being an idiot. Listen.
Dana, hear me out.
Okay.
Hear me out. It's an investment toward the overall image of the UFC, which is that they are giving away the most anticipated lightweight fight of all time. And they're foregoing the opportunity to capitalize on it and the opportunity to make money of the situation. No, that's fine. I got that. Yeah, and you do it for free. You put it out.
Hey,
or you
we get it. We get the point. You don't need to continue anymore. Right? I get the point. You're right. And wow, what a gift that would be. What a gift that would be. It would be amazing. It'd be a gift for the people. It would be incredible. But however, they're not in the business of hiring the best fighters in the world, flying them to said secret location, paying for medicals, paying for cameramen, all these types of things, paying those astronomical purses. Because I'll tell you what, right now, Khabib and Tony, they won those fucking pay-per-view points 100%. So you got to forego that. You got to make up for that. They haven't done all this training. They're going to put their lives on the line to get this biggest, most anticipated fight of their life and not get their pay-per-view buys. Also, not to mention the UFC is ground to a halt. They're not having any events right now. They have obligations to TV networks, and they want to make money. I read just this week that I think Endeavor just laid off 250 staff. I'm not sure if that's true or not. Harrington might have some facts, but I did see something like that. They can't go, and listen, they can, but if that did 2 million pay-per-view buys, you're talking $130, $140 million, right? And whilst that would be great, that would be awesome, they're not in the business of putting pay-per-view fights on for free. And that is not a payday fight. It's not a fight night fight.
They give every viewer $100. Everybody that orders it, they actually give them $100.
Solid business move. That's why you're not broadcasting from the Gas Digital Studios right now.
That's why I'm on a fucking.
That's why you're at home. You don't have a microphone. Okay. Pets' heads are falling off. You got to make your own coffee. Right. This is why.
I have coronavirus. My festival's in the fucking ground.
You got coronavirus. James is packing his bags as we speak. You know, that is why. I love it. Man of the people. Give it. Lewis, we've already given away 30 pairs of gloves and pads. We're not giving UFC 249 away for free, okay? Just get that out of your very shiny, going redder by the second head.
All right, real quick, hold on, because we got to wrap this one up in a minute. We've been doing a long show.
We do.
Harrington, I want to talk to you about that one last topic number 2. But real quick, I should say, guys, thank you so much for all the kind comments. We've been doing longer shows because honestly, we got nothing but time, baby. We're just hanging out. So we appreciate it. We love doing the show. So we do appreciate the great comments. Go subscribe on our iTunes channel right now. Leave us a 5-star ranking and review. That does help people find the show. Suggest the show to some friends. Go to our Google Play channel. Go to our Stitcher channel. All the episodes in the latest video episodes, audio episodes, all of our sponsor links, everything you want, you actually can just go to believeyoumepod.com. Right on that page, you can get everything that you need for every episode. So it's a really simple way to grab all the new episodes. believeyoumepod.com. And you can subscribe on YouTube as well, get notifications when all the episodes go live. We've been in the live chat regularly lately, so we're going to be continuing to do that. And if you guys want access to every episode we've ever done, we're actually doing something pretty cool right now. We know everyone's home right now. Everyone's on quarantine. Everyone has nothing to do. So Gas Digital is giving away a 30-day free trial. If you use the code BYM30, BYM30, you get 30 days of the premium Gas Digital service. You get access to every episode of Believe You Me, uncensored and ad-free that we've ever done. All right, before we wrap up, and I should say, if you guys want to send us questions or fan art or anything else, shoot us an email at bympod@gmail.com.
Yeah, fucking speed up. That's what this means. When people
speak
see the
so fast.
Okay. We have got other things to do. It's 3:49. We've been at this podcast for 3 hours and something minutes. Our pets' heads are falling off.
No, we have to plug all those things. They're 100% necessary every time.
You did it. We don't need to argue about it. We're done. And without further ado, that brings us to the end of the show. Okay, I know you wanted to do something else, another topic, but it doesn't matter. We can save that topic. We'll be back with another show. We can be back with another show. It's been a good one. It's been a fun one. Thank you to Imran from Sanabul. Thank you to Darren Till, the gorilla. Can't wait to see him and Robert Whittaker. This weekend, people, please continue to self-isolate if you can. If you do have to brave the elements and go out and go to work, then just be careful. Wash your hands regularly. Stay away from everybody. You know the protocol and you don't want to hear me say it, but if you're going to go out there, then all the best. Stay safe and God bless, Lewis.
Guys, be safe. Much love to Mr. Bisping and the family. Sending you guys always a lot of love. I can't wait until we have the Lucas Bisping versus James Gomez MMA fight. We're going to do full striking. We've decided it's going to get crazy.
My son's a killer. He's a killer. And he'll bite. He's gangster rules.
Well, we know. These are biting. It's the old. We'll even do UFC 1 rules.
Listen,
bite
you
UFC 1.
You want to bring it on? You want our kids to fight? Fuck, man, it's to the death. That's how we roll.
Let's go. I'm ready to go, baby boy.
Have a good weekend. See you on Monday. Bye bye.